What you're going to be hearing from these two people is that we have done that. We articulated this 4 years ago. We have methodically been doing it. And today, with the launch this year, the launch of the one-to-one iPad, you'll see it. You'll see how this vision has come to fruition. So, the two people that are going to do most of the heavy lifting today in the presentation are Charlene Loope, Director of Communication and Instructional Technology. She has been the architect of most of this, working with our faculty, identifying what is the best technology framework for our kids, our school. She's been behind that work with faculty for a number of years. Mr. Brendan Hoyle, our creative director for us, he's probably the best example of a lifetime learner. The annual fund last year, the auction, purchased 3D printers. Brendan had some experience with that, being the lifetime learner that he is. He has taken this on as a project, and he is integrating it through our instructional program. He has learned this and really been able to show other faculty members how this can really change what we do in the classroom. So the best part of this is that your children every day have faculty like this teaching. The last piece I'm going to say is what you're going to hear today is not happening at any other school in Hampton Roads. It is not. Other schools have laptops and iPads and things like that, but there's not another school that has made the decision to integrate technology across the board like we have. There's only a handful of schools in the state of Virginia that have done it, and there's nobody in Hampton Roads that's doing it. That's why we are very proud of what the faculty and the staff members have done over the past couple of years, because we've really changed how we teach our kids. So, I'm done, and I'm going to turn it over to Charlotte.
First, I want to say that the integration of technology that we're going to talk about today at Norfolk Collegiate is really just a 21st century expression of our philosophy that has existed since the school has existed, of integrating innovative instruction and traditional methods of instruction together. So really this is just an extenuation of what I think Norfolk Collegiate has always done best. And you can see in our mission statement, traditional and innovative teaching are part of who we are. This is a seemingly radical statement that we started our school year with in the 2013-14 school year with our teachers. So not this school year, but last school year when we issued iPads to all of our teachers, K-12. And we thought about that and studied that last year and talked about it with each other. And what we decided is that by welcoming the instructional opportunities that technology brings to the learning environment, we are able to create interactive learning environments that do reach our children. Because this statement tells us that those children are no longer the people that the educational system that we have been teaching from for 100 years is designed to reach. And we believe that by putting the right tools, the right technology tools in the hands of our students, we are every day redesigning their instructional program and redesigning the system that they're learning in. So this radical statement actually came from, and we talked about this last year in our professional development workshops that we had at the beginning of the year and throughout the year. It came from this guide, which is from the National Association of Independent Schools, of which we are a member, as are all other professional independent schools in the country. The Guide to Becoming a School of the Future really lays out for us what our children need, not just in the future, but today. So even though it seems perhaps that we are moving full steam ahead, we're doing so at the best interest of our students. And what we know, and what our National Association knows, is best practice for schools like ours, to be looking forward so that we meet our needs for our children today. So what I'm going to be showing you the rest of this presentation are really some real examples of students taken this year. And we've completed 4 last spring when we closed our school year. I love this picture. This is the hat parade that they did. This is a second grader. There was a hat parade at our lower school, and the vocabulary word that he chose was technology. And this was certainly Miss Kraft, when I was down there last week, called me in and said, "You've got to see this hat. It's made for you." And this is absolutely a physical representation, I think, of everything that we are talking about today, technology in our students' lives. And this second grader has certainly done a phenomenal job of putting that all together. But what are some other ways that we see technology in use in our program? This is a second grader. When I walked through looking for examples, I knew I'd find them right away, and I found many. Using the iPad in our lower school, where we really did start our iPad program. We started it with our very youngest students with the support of our lower school head, Mr. Smith, and certainly with the grace of our headmaster, the blessing of our headmaster, who really was behind this movement ever since I came to Collegiate, asked me about my views on technology as a librarian and where we could go and what the vision was that I saw for the libraries. And then our conversation grew to include things like iPads in the classroom. So this is a student using an iPad for individual personalized learning in her classroom. Also in our lower school, these are some fifth grade students this year who are actually in the hallways at the lower school reviewing for a math test. So in Ms. Collato's classroom, these students are walking around sort of on a treasure hunt, finding QR codes, which are those things that look like that, and embedded in each of these QR codes are some instructions that will then pop up on their iPad, and it told them to do things like find a right angle and take a picture of it, find a 45-degree angle and take a picture of that with your iPad. So they were reviewing for a math test using technology, and certainly this is an example of that student-centered, student-centric learning environment that we are talking about, and engaging students walking around their classrooms or walking around their school. Our smart boards that we placed in kindergarten through 8th grade 4 years ago, and in our upper school you'll see some pictures of some interactive projectors that we placed in those upper school classrooms 4 years ago. We're in our 4th year of using those. They're still very relevant. This is a student who's using it for a morning meeting kind of activity. And then we also have students who are in our middle school using smart boards. And this is Ms. Curtis's math class, and you can see they're engaged. She's written something on the board, which can then be saved when it's saved on the smart board, when it's written on the smart board, unlike on a traditional chalkboard or whiteboard, and uploaded into an Edline file, which the students can then have access to after things have been erased from the chalkboard. So these are some examples of our use of that kind of technology. In the upper school, and middle school, our one-to-one iPad program is certainly one of our newest additions to, and maybe this year I'm going to show some pictures that will show you the impact of that in our classroom. First day of school, Mr. Benedict, we have students who have iPads in front of them in our new student lounge area in the front. This is a student after school, a senior, sitting and using her iPad. I asked her what she was doing. She's writing a paper. So she's actually using her iPad to do that in an after-school setting. The iPads have proven to be portable, which is what we were looking for. Instantaneous on, very easy for students to open up, carry with them. This is a picture of our library, just during one of our free bells, one of our choice time activity times. It used to be, when I first came to Norfolk Collegiate, we had 22 computers in our library, and it was kind of like a subway train where people were standing in line waiting for someone to get up so they could sit down and finish what they needed to do. Katie's nodding her head because she remembers those days. And now we have students who bring their very portable devices with them, and they're able to print from these, they're able to access the internet and do things that they need to do without waiting. This was a selfish picture of mine. This is a 6th grade iPad class. I'm teaching this, co-teaching this with Ms. Beth Wallace this quarter, and these are our students who we asked them to get together in a group and do some exploration and come up with some things that they could tell us that were tricks and tips about the iPad and share. And this is what they did. They just kind of huddled together, standing, sitting, and started started working together in an excited sort of way. The other thing that we have added to our offerings this year, and this is technology and engineering really, is our robotics course for 7th graders. So that is another expression of our bringing in some innovative activities for our students to experience during their school day. So this is one of the very early pictures that Ms. Horncell sent me. They're doing remarkable things now. There's a video that came to the Oak Connection that I think you can see from 2 weeks ago. You can see them on the booth. Mr. Stell here is doing a web quest with his students in his 7th grade science class. Instead of having to sign up for a computer lab or have some students with a device and other students who didn't have a device and trying to make that work, everyone had one. You can see him in the back of the room. Teacher is facilitator. Everything works sort of seamlessly together. And this is a really remarkable change that we have seen in our classrooms just since school opened this year. In our upper school, this is Ms. Marshall's health class. You can see that she's doing the skinny on fat, and all of our students who are sitting at their desks have that information on their iPads. So she's able to give that to them in format so that they have that information on their iPads while she's talking, and also they can go home and access that. This is also great if you were sick and missed a day of school, then you have access to what went on in class that day. I think that is another really wonderful skill for our students to have, especially as colleges move more towards a model of online learning. This will give them the ability to understand how to access that kind of information. This is an upper school English class where you see a student. This is an example of our using the Apple TVs that also are part of our technology program. And some students are choosing to annotate their texts in a book form. Other students have their text for this class on their iPads, and they're choosing to highlight it and annotate on the iPad. So again, we're blending two different models here and allowing students to do what works best for them in the classroom. Our student who's presenting, his iPad is on a table nearby, and he is beaming his iPad, just like I am, through the Apple TV. This is an example of an online, we have about a dozen online or digital books. This is our vocabulary book. All of you who have middle and upper school students have seen the red books. It now gives students instant feedback that then is available to their teachers that shows them what kind of, how they're doing, which words they need help on. So that's an example of what that is. This is from my son. You can see this one. That was probably on the second try. This is an example of an upper school, a really high-level upper school use of our iPad and apps. This is Explain Everything, the app. Ms. Paige Sullivan's AP Government class. Their assignments, this is mostly seniors, largely seniors. Their assignment was to create a children's book illustrating a specific aspect of the Constitution. It was to be suitable for audiences ages 8 through 11, and they needed to be concise and they needed to understand their part of the Constitution very well. This is a page from one of their books. And what they did then was they actually took a trip to our lower school and they read their children's books to groups of students there. And you can see it was clearly a hit. Students enjoyed listening to the books that our students wrote. Our students used the creativity, something that they probably would not have, that Ms. Sullivan probably would not have been able to do without this kind of technology. So all the way from K through 12, we are using technology. Our iPad program is most of what I talked about today, but we are using it to make our students understand the world, to bring the world into the classroom in ways that we never could before. So in continuing our theme of looking to the future and becoming the school of the future and the school that our students need today, I'm going to turn it over to Brendan, who is going to show you these fabulous things here on the stage.
And I was really excited last April when Michelle Adcock told me that we were trying to raise money for these 3D printers. It's a technology that I've followed for a while as a theater person because it's used a lot in the theater, professional theater world to make renderings. There's lots of models, and through a process of theater. You make model upon model upon model, and so this is something that is really in the forefront of theater technologies. So I was very excited to get it, and I've been making a lot of toys, learning how to make it, do different things, and now I've started to integrate with the students into this kind of new technology. So I'm going to show you some stuff. I'm going to try and keep it brief. What I'm going to do, well, first off, just as more plugs for the iPad, you see that 1, 2, 3D design? This is a 3D modeling program. Big thing that we do in theatrical production in my class, as well as in any three programs, is try to think about space. Trying to think about designing something so that it is more than just a 2D object, thinking about how it lays out. For example, in my production class, some of my students designed something just looking at it like this. And then when I moved the work plane, they discovered that nothing lined up because they were just thinking in a 2D environment. So we've been really stressing trying to think in 3 dimensions, truly to try to think about the full space available. So I'm going to use this so that you can see some of these items. Like this, okay? So you can see we start with some sample pieces that you can simply print on here, and then I quickly moved into doing some more complex design myself so that we can teach our students how to take an image and render it. So like I took the Norfolk Collegiate seal and in Photoshop and exported it and made it into a 3D object, so now it's got 3 dimensions. Then we have a set of robots. See, these are 2 different kinds of robots. One, this one we'll start with first, it's printed in 38 different pieces. So you can see where some of those lines line up. So this helps teach how to design something, then take it apart so that you can print it and put it back together, because we couldn't print this piece all together. That being said, this robot is actually designed so that it does print together and hinges. So it's a very smart design where all the hinges are laid out in a really specific way. So that was all to get us to kind of thinking about how space works. And my students have spent time using mainly 2 programs, Tinkercad, which is a freely available browser-based design program. It's just tinkercad.com. You have to use Google Chrome or Firefox, Internet Explorer, and Safari to work for it. But you just design on there, and it's saved wherever you can access Tinkercad, you can design your objects. So all of these things were designed in Tinkercad. So then one of my students, Darden Purrington, who is in the second year of theatrical production, last year we designed this set for Something's Afoot, our spring musical. You can see there it's built out of foam core. And it took, I don't know, about a week of class time to get all the measurements right and do everything. And then over the last week, Darden took that design and she put it into Tinkercad and redid it. It took her about 2 hours. And we printed it. Glued it together because it's printed in several different parts. And so now, if we say, okay, we need to change how big the fireplace is and how big this window is, and the door's too tall, rather than going back and making a new foam core model, we simply go into Tinkercad, redesign it, relay it out, and reprint it. So that gives us the option to really kind of, I like to think of it as technology innovation in that it's just that we have the ability to continually adapt. Right now, NASA has discovered that through 3D printing, and they're not printing on the plastics, we're printing on, keep in mind, but that they are able to save, I want to say, a couple $100,000 a year because there is a piece for their space shuttles that normally they had to have printed, at some sort of, or not printed, made at a steel factory in some company, but they have very fancy 3D printers there that they can now print those devices themselves. For example, over the summer, I was looking at a weed whacker at a yard sale, and there was a piece that continually broke on it. And they told me, when I was looking at it, it continually broke, but I needed a new gas weed whacker, and they were going to sell me this weed whacker for $5 because it continually broke. So this piece, about this big, I designed it in the 3D printer, and I put it in there, and it works. Probably cost that size, probably 17 cents in filament. And probably took me 45 minutes to build. And now I have a working weed whacker. It's really changing how the ability we have to fix and make our own things. And so we're spending a lot of time in this, let's see, we're still connected, in my class on Tinkercad and Adobe 123D design. Thinking about things spatially and thinking about how to make new things and make things that are useful. Along those lines, we're also starting a makers club called the Inkjets. Actually, some students have come to me to start it, and we'll be doing some 3D printing contests and things, but all geared towards making stuff that is useful, making stuff that has a purpose. I mean, it's fun. I mean, we all love these robots. They look great. But they're a means to an end. They're to teach our students how to think spatially and how to think about how joints work and hinges and such, so that they can use that knowledge to create stuff that has more use. I'm going to show you a lot of people ask out. So this is the 3D printer here. If you imagine a glue gun nozzle, everybody know a glue gun? So a glue gun nozzle pointing straight down with a roll of fishing line back here. It's not really a fishing line, it's called PLA, but it's a roll of thick filament. We have them in about 10 different colors. It extrudes it, pulls it in through here, and extrudes it down through here, and just lays out layer after layer onto the build plate. So really quickly, I'm just going to show you this 55-second time-lapse video. The time-lapse video, which I should point out, I also shot on the iPad, throwing back to Charlene, using a program called Lapse Pro. All right, so this is 54 seconds. It took 20 hours to print. This is one of the bell towers, which I'll show you the completed one in a second. But it took a photo every 30 seconds for 21 hours, and then we played it back at 45 frames a second. This is that very bell tower. You see the legs and feet are all glued together. The inside is hollow except for this honeycomb pattern. I designed this myself in Tinkercad, and I've been tinkering it with it for several weeks. So I've probably spent maybe 20 hours on it. You don't necessarily have to spend that much time, but I really wanted to get it as detailed as possible. You can see there's a lot of brick work on it, and I wanted to get the clock faces right. So that's what we're doing right now with 3D printers is experimenting, playing stuff, but heading towards making stuff with use, stuff with purpose, stuff that solves problems, because that's all adult-like